All right, so now we're asked to ask for the user's name and to output their name with capital letters. And there's some sample code provided. So let's look at that sample code. Here we store a string of letters into a variable called name. When I print it out, I take that variable, but I apply the upper method to the name. So what that does is that will generate the value in uppercase. So the point of this is just to recognize that there are a series of built-in commands that exist, and we can always kind of do a search for them. If we're doing a particular assignment, I can give you hints as to what we want to be using. So if I run this, it does Johnny. I think there's also one called capitalize. Name dot capitalize. Capital. Is that it? Nope. So I'm just going to try Python capitalize. Capitalize. Run that. And so what that does is it will capitalize the first letter of a word. You can see it only does the first letter of the string, of the entire string. But we're just asked to use upper command. And it says to apply it to our previous code. So I'm going to go grab my previous code. And it asks us to output it before the numbers are printed out. So we'll then output the name all in capitals with an appropriate message before the integers are inputted. Before the integers are inputted. Okay, so this has got to happen before. I'm just going to comment this out. This is sample code that I may want to reference again, and I'm going to paste in my previous code. So it's going to ask for this information before I ask for these numbers. I'm guessing I don't need to ask for the person's name more than once, so I will not include it in the loop. So I will include it down here. In fact, I might do it before that. This kind of forever equal true. That's really meant about the block. So it's kind of want to keep my information grouped together that kind of makes sense. And given that line 22 is really about my while loop, I'm going to leave that grouped together. I personally would not have done this approach. In fact, I'm going to change this back. I just demonstrated that was one way of doing it. I think personally I would just say while true. And then here I'll just break. But I wanted to demonstrate that you could put a conditional inside of that while statement. I'm going to run this one more time. I just deleted some code, make sure I didn't mess anything up. Okay, I think that's still working. So now I'm going to ask for user's name. Name is equal to input bracket what is your name? Space. Now remember, the input provides a string response, and that's what I want. I want words. So now I need to print out an appropriate response. So I'm going to say print. Now the print function will allow multiple arguments. We can put multiple things inside of that. So I'm going to say welcome. I'll do it all in caps, so it's a title. Welcome. And now I'm going to print their name. I'm going to get rid of the space because when I separate my arguments with a comma, that will automatically add a space between them. So I'm going to say welcome name. Oops, I get rid of my capitalize. So Python would recognize name and the variable name like that as separate variables. It's case sensitive. So my variable name is name. So this is going to say welcome, comma, and because I'm separating these arguments by something with this comma, that will automatically add a space there. So it's going to say welcome and then John or whatever the name is. But I want to take the uppercase of the whatever string that is. So I include it like so. So if I try this now, What's your name? It says welcome, John. I think I'd like to add an exclamation mark at the end. So if I did a comma exclamation mark like so, if I run that, not going to be quite what I want. I don't want that space that's there. So when I separate my arguments in the print function by commas, it automatically adds a space, and I often may want that. In this case, I don't. So what I'm going to do is, given that name is a string, an exclamation mark is a string, I can also concatenate those two strings together or add them together. When I add strings together, it does not insert spaces between them, so that would be accomplished like so. Welcome, Johnny. What is the first number? Okay, so I think that's all we had to do there. That's all we need to do.